Hey everybody, it's Kentario. I'm back doing Christ in comic books. It's actually been a minute since I did a video. I think it's maybe been about a week or two. Been maybe a week and a half since I've done a video. But hey, I'm back again with C&C. But I'm not necessarily going to be talking about anything specific. But today I thought I'd kind of get a little bit personal today. Thankfully today I got the opportunity to be able to preach today. Just to touch on that a bit, you can see that on my Facebook page. I shared the video there. We have the praise and worship portion of the service, but after that we get into the word that's recorded. So you can find the message there. If you like music and you like to get yourself in the right mood before you actually watch it, it's best to listen to the worship music. But the word I spoke on was in God's time. Just making sure that we're not operating on our own schedule and expecting God to meet our schedule, but we're meeting God's schedule. And it's great to actually get to preach. It actually feels really good. A lot of people could probably tell you might see a different side of me when I'm actually preaching versus how I am when I'm just chilling and relaxing, trying to be funny, trying to have a good time, talk about the funniest of things. And to be honest, even when I'm talking about manga and anime and comics and stuff like that, or the random things that pop in my head. And it's kind of where I'm at now for today's video, looking to be a bit personal. Like I said, trying to talk a bit more about myself and what makes me even do this. I mentioned this in my very, very first video, how me as a kid, comics was something that I was deeply, deeply into. My parents were very efficient about making sure to teach me about God and teaching me about the Bible. And you read about all the people that's in the Bible, all the heroes that are in the Bible, like Noah. You hear about Moses, you hear about David, you hear about Daniel, you hear about the prophets, and there's so many prophets. Oh my goodness. There's prophets all over the place in the Old Testament, and then you hit on Jesus, and then you get the disciples, and then you hit on Paul. Paul takes up majority of the New Testament with all the letters he wrote, and then, then you get into Revelations. That's when things would really get nitty gritty. I think even for those that don't even claim faith in God, like that's the place they'd rather go when it comes to reading the Bible. They'd rather read Revelations. They find that more enjoyable. For some people, it's pretty interesting to me that they find Revelation so interesting. But being brought up in the Bible, of course, as a kid, you enjoy it, but at the same time, you still wanted to watch your cartoons. You still wanted to watch your TV shows. You still wanted to read the cool books on the shelves that has all them awesome pictures with those cool dudes in costumes, right? So that's where I was. I was just like that, watching those same things and enjoying those same things. Getting caught up in Spider-Man the Animated Series, Batman the Animated Series. My boy Comics Explained actually talked about those two. Kind of got really nostalgic because he got hyped about the Batman intro music. But anyway, I got really crazy about those. I really, really enjoyed that nostalgia. I really loved those things I used to watch as a kid. And it really hit me watching Dragon Ball Z. Like, Dragon Ball Z just sucked me completely in. You're watching these people, get stronger in the middle of a battle. The planet's on the verge of being destroyed because of all of these powerful, creepy looking opponents. You got the one big guy, the one skinny guy, and the tiny short dude that looks insane and stupid. They always play that setup. I mean, they did a lot in the movies. You got it in Dead Zone, Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone. You got it in Mightiest Warrior. You have it in so many of those movies. Even Lord Slug movie, you got it in there. You see that comparison. It's funny when you think about it, because when Nappa came, you got Nappa, who's the big dummy, and then you got Vegeta, who's the actually stronger between the two of them. They actually played that. Thankfully, they finally put a couple of feet on Vegeta. He's a little taller now, thank goodness. But that's what I really got into. I really got into watching Dragon Ball Z, and it always hyped me up every day. I'd go to school, me and my friend Dominic Davis, we'd be in the halls acting like we're doing energy blasts at each other, and we'd be selecting characters and fighting back and forth, even though we're in separate classes. It's about third grade. And then we go home, 5 o'clock, boom, Toonami hit the screen. You can watch an anime back to back to back, and you're just watching Gundam Wing, Outlaw Star, Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball Z. You're just sitting and you're watching these amazing things. I'm mentioning this because, of course, this is anime, but anime originates from the comic aspect, which is known as manga in Japan. So, it's still, for the most part, the same thing. And that's where, it all started for me, at least my passion, or me being really driven about this thing. I loved Spider-Man, but then it was when I started watching anime, it was just like, driven. And then I started drawing those styles. I started illustrating those. I started off by tracing, because it was weird. When we were in elementary school, we would print off the Saiyan pictures, and then we'd go around school and we'd share them with each other. But then someone got smart because they wanted snacks and stuff that was being sold. So they started selling their Dragon Ball Z pictures, and people started buying those pictures just so they could have a picture of Goku at Super Saiyan 3. Like, it was so crazy what we used to do back when we were in elementary school, I'm telling you. But I started off tracing, and then I was like, tracing's cheating, I need to do it myself. So I started drawing myself, and my stick figures looked atrocious. I hated it. But I finally started getting better, and I do my own style and write my own stories. But, you know, that's where it started for me. When I was a child, I had a trouble, you know, having nightmares. I had a lot of nightmares, being oppressed by these monstrous looking creatures and these creepy things. And I'm not talking, not like the stuff you see in anime, or what Spider-Man would deal with, or what Superman would deal with, or who Batman would deal with, or who even Wonder Woman would fight with, the Justice League would fight with, X-Men would fight. I didn't see anything like that. I saw stuff way worse. And I wasn't one to watch scary movies when I was a kid, so that's what was even worse about it. I was really scared. But I took a moment to talk to my dad about, you know, the dreams that I was having. And he said, son, you know, take a moment, and whenever you're in those dreams, whenever you're going through that, tell them, stand back in the name of Jesus. Call on the name of Jesus, and you'll be okay. And I started doing that. I started calling on the name of Jesus, and those things started warding off. But there was one particular dream where I was going to take out the trash at my parents' house, and it's off the side of the house. So I went outside, and it was nighttime. That's where the trash can was, and I went to go throw it out. And as I was throwing it out, this green-looking, I guess you could call it a demon, a green-looking demon thing tried to come up on me, and I said, stand back in the name of Jesus. He was gone. Then this little pink-looking one, a pinkish, reddish one, came up on me as well. Said the same thing. He disappeared. But then another one came up, told him that, and he didn't budge. And then he started to grow in front of me. And then I told him, stand back in the name of Jesus. It still didn't work. But I was getting fed up with having to contend with, like, I guess you could say I was at my breaking point. Not necessarily breaking, but I was getting fed up with having to deal with this over and over again, night after night. And so I yelled and I hollered and I said, and I screamed, stand back in the name of Jesus. And then my body like glistened. It was so golden. I was golden. My skin was bronze. Now, for my Dragon Ball Z fans, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I had on Piccolo's cape at that moment. I had on Piccolo's cape, and my hair looked kind of like Gohan's. And I don't know if it was Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 1. I want to say Super Saiyan 1. I was Super Saiyan 1 Gohan in this moment. And I was powering up, and I was telling this thing to go away, and you just see him get eradicated by the light. And it was just like, yes, I woke up. I was like, this is perfect. The two things that I love, my love for Christ, my love for this anime, for all this stuff, perfectly go together, and it makes me feel stronger. And I felt so much better about myself. I felt really good. And I felt like my relationship, you know, with God had grown because of that. And, you know, that's what started to change, was that my relationship with God had started to grow, but at the same time, being ignorant about, you know, the stuff where it comes from and what it means, what it could mean, and all of this stuff, you know, it did have its impact on me to where I got caught up and was, like, I was obsessed with manga. One day I'll look to show you guys my bookshelf. Amazing. I actually want to kind of do a list one of these days, but, you know, I have so many of those books, and you know, they have such an impact on me that every time I'm reading them, I'm seeing some aspect of how that relates to my faith, of how that relates to Christ, or how that may play a part with, you know, what I'm doing in this world and what I'm called to do. And it gives me that energy to be like, I can do this. I can finish this. I'm the strongest guy in the room. I'm imagining fight scenes that I'm going to do my work at my actual job. Like, I'm picturing these scenes, and it's making me get hyped, and I'm able to complete my work. You know, that's what that does for me. It gets me driven. A lot of my friends will tell you, a lot of people that I know, they'll tell you, anime just gets people excited. Anime touches people in a place in their heart where, you know, they don't feel as though they're actually okay, but that will hit home for them and make them feel as though, you know, this really knows what I feel like. And so then they wake up the next day, and for some people, they'll either able to actually get up and go be successful, or they're excited to watch the next episode. You know, it works one of two ways. And for me, it gets me excited to wake up the next day and go and do what I have to do. You know, it's interesting also because and I'm just going to use this as an example, and then as I'm drawing to a close, actually, I wasn't looking to be before you guys long tonight anyway, but when it first started with Dragon Ball Z, it's like when I saw Goku and them and all the Saiyans, I was like, man, they're Christians. They're just in the image of a Christian. And some of y'all probably like, no, it's not no Christian. How is that alien a Christian? I mean, so here's some key aspects to that. You know, so he's a Saiyan. So the thing about a Saiyan is, The Saiyan doesn't get any stronger until they're at the breaking point, until they're about to die. That's when they come back, 10 times stronger. It's up to a Christian to die daily to their flesh so that they can become closer to God, so that they become that much stronger and harness the spiritual power that God has equipped them with. If that don't tell you that that's a Christian, I don't know what else will. But I can keep going. So, the word also says, many are called, but chosen are few. How many Saiyans are left in Dragon Ball? Genuinely. Popularity-wise, 2. If you want to count the half-breeds, 4? 5? There's 5. If you want to count the brother that's far off into space, Kaba, that puts you about 6. There might be another 1 or 2 Saiyans that exist out there that haven't been revealed yet because they're continuing the series because people love it so much. So more Saiyans are showing up, but there's so few of them, but they are as strong as they could ever be as far as this series has come. And that's with the few of them, not with the many. And it's interesting because just like with the many, like with Israel, or like when so many Christians, not all of them are meant to survive. Sad that, and that's sadly but true. Not many are going to be able to make it to be the greatest, to be the best that they're able to be. That's why you may have 1 or 2 people that reach that max level, while the other people stay at a lower level, which you do see. I mean, it's there. It happens. That's why I think that's also why Gohan doesn't go to the next level, because, fans, how they get. I mean, I really always wanted Gohan to be number 1. I'm not going to lie to you. But, that gives that imagery of them being a Christian. And, them exceeding against every possible opponent to become that much stronger. We face off against our opponent. Man, I didn't mean to go here. But when you think about Goku too, Goku's a prime example of a Christian. Goku loves the fight. Goku loves the battle. Goku's not upset that he has to get into any competition. He's always driven to keep on training, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So Goku gets himself ready every day, training. Doesn't stop training. He'll leave home, come back, eat, go back, train. Getting stronger. That's what we're called to do as Christians as well. We got to train ourselves up. Because you don't know what battle is going to come. You don't know what kind of opponent is going to come. And at some point, you guys are going to be facing a Jiren. Some of y'all know who I'm talking about. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Christians, you're going to have to face a Jiren. You're going to have to face somebody who is trained far past you and is looking to allow your entire universe, everything that you're about, to be destroyed with no care about you, but only looking to fulfill themselves. That's genuinely, to put it simply, that's the devil, right? You have a call on your life to do something great. You may enjoy knowing that even though I'm walking this walk for the Lord, the suffering of this world is not worthy to be compared to the joy that I find in the Lord. You're still the glory that is to be found in the Lord. Excuse me, let me reword that. That's a verse used in the word as well. But, we can press on in this battle like Goku does, pressing on in a battle, regardless of how hard it is, loving the fight, loving that I met someone so strong, because I know I'm going to get stronger from contending with you. That's why the Lord allows for us to be tempted so, because he knows for us that have that faith that we'll grow stronger from that battle. And that's the same thing that, that relates there when it comes to anime and manga, and when we're looking at ourselves. That's a lot of similarities that we see with a lot of different comics, a lot of different heroes. They go through experiences that we relate to, but at the same time, for a child of God, for a Christian, it's upbuilding and uplifting and empowering. Thank you guys for watching this evening. I actually want to put this challenge out there that if you want, please give me a list of a series. Give me a series, give me a comic, give me an anime, give me a manga, give me some series. You promote the series, I'll check it out, and then you know what? I'll see what the word may have to say about that particular series. Hey, thank you guys. I look forward to this Wednesday. This Wednesday, I'm looking to introduce you guys to some of the books that I actually have and tell you about some of the manga that I've collected, because, like I said, I've collected a lot. Thank you guys. Y'all have a blessed evening. Good night.